everyone, welcome to How Ines Rolls. Today is a special day. It is my friend's birthday, so I thought I would make her these really famous cookies. Let's get started. Have you ever heard of the Neiman Marcus cookie? Maybe, maybe not. I've been actually hearing it for like over a decade now. So there's a story behind it and I'm gonna fill you in on it. But today I had to bring out the big guns. Had to get my mixer because whenever I'm making a good cookie recipe that needs to be whipped and creamed, the butter needs to be creamed, then I need to bring out the big guns. So I'm gonna get all my ingredients ready and I'll show you briefly what that is. I will attach the link in the description box below. It is a version of the Neiman Marcus cookie brought to you by Lil Luna. Okay, for this recipe, you'll need unsalted butter, but I only have salted, so I'll tell you how I figured that out. Brown sugar, white sugar, an egg, some vanilla, some flour, some baking soda, or baking powder, baking soda, salt, and semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now, are you a fan of semi-sweet chocolate chips in your chocolate chip cookies? Because I am. They are so good. And I feel like milk chocolate needs to go with like some different kind of cookies, but mostly muffins. So first off, I'm just going to line some cookie sheets and lightly, just a light spray of a cooking spray. That way it'll just ensure that it doesn't stick to the pan at all. As I am getting things situated, let me tell you a couple of things. Hello. Your temperature on your oven is going to be set at 300. So it's a lot lower than what it normally is. At normal cookie recipes are at 350. So this is going to be at 300. Plus, I told you I had only salted butter. So versus the unsalted, you know. So when you go to put salt in your recipe, it calls for a half of a teaspoon. I'm only going to do a quarter of a teaspoon. So that will kind of balance out exactly the amount of salt that it needs to have. So I have my butter and my brown sugar, and it only takes 3 tablespoons of white. Okay. So we're going to now cream these up, and I'll bring you closer. Okay, that looks fluffy to me. So we're going to, you can tell that the mixture has kind of lightened up in color. So something to look for. We're going to add a couple of teaspoons of vanilla. And I'm a oopsies kind of on the vanilla. Not a lot, but a little extra. We're big vanilla fans in our desserts. And then we're just going to add an egg. And let's get that going. I'm going to put in some of these dry ingredients. So here's the baking powder, baking soda, and remember, I'm only doing a quarter of the salt rather than half. I'm going to get those mixed in, and then we'll start putting in the flour. So easy. Okay, I'm going to start incorporating some of the flour. So it's 1 3/4. So I'm just going to get the 3/4 in first, and then start mixing in the other half, or no, the other cup later. Okay, everything is now mixed in. We get to now add the very last thing, which is yummy, yummy chocolate chips. So 1.5 cups. Oh, but it only leaves me like this much, a teeny tiny bit, maybe a 1/4 cup. Let's just put the whole bag in. So you guys, I'm just going to hand mix these in so that they're evenly dispersed, and they're gonna be a very chocolatey chip cookie. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about the story about these Neiman Marcus cookies and get them on the cookie sheets. Okay, it's time to now start rolling, you know, good sized balls out of them. And we're just going to place them a couple inches apart. So this story is this mom and daughter went shopping at Neiman Marcus and they got lunch. They got some salads, whatever. After they were happy eating in full, they decided to get a dessert and say they saw the chocolate chip cookies, the Neiman Marcus cookies. And so they thought they were so good. So they decided they wanted to ask the girl behind the counter if they could purchase the recipe. Well, she says, well, I can't really do that, but okay. And she's like, okay, so how much is the recipe? And she says $2.50. And so she's like, great. So she gives her the recipe and off they went. She checks her credit card statement. It was $250, not $2.50, in which this woman thought it was. And so she tried to, complain about it, and they wouldn't, give her money back. So she decided to release the recipe into the world. Now, it's kind of a good, stick it to the man kind of story. But in all honesty, it isn't even true. Neiman Marcus doesn't have cafes. They don't even, and I think after the rumors started, they insisted that they started making a cookie or something, or a cookbook or something like that, to that effect. So, but isn't it kind of funny that Neiman Marcus was able to benefit from that rumor by actually making the cookie after all? So this is a variation of that mix, and we'll have to wait and see how it tastes. But let me finish putting these in, and then I'll tell you what we're gonna do next. So these are about to go into the oven at 300 degrees for about 15 to 18 minutes, just enough till where they're starting to brown around the edges, just a tiny bit. So I can't wait to try one. My house is smelling all kinds of good in here. So let me go get the Neiman Marcus cookies. These just came out, you guys. Wow. Don't those look so good? Okay, I have one more batch to get in, and then we'll talk about how delicious they are. Okay, I've let them cool. Look at that bottom with all of those chocolate chips. It was a good idea, right? To add the rest of those chocolate chips. Oh my gosh, this is so good. You guys. Am I teasing you? These are so good. She's going to love them. Okay, so they made about 19-ish cookies. You saw how big I was making them from the big tablespoon. So 19 cookies, and I have a little plate that I'm just going to put them on. I'm gonna let Ezra have one and Kobe have one, and then the rest will be for my friend Amber. She's so special. We love her so much. So she's part of our fam, and we have something special planned a little bit later. But yeah, I hope she's having a wonderful day, even though we are quarantined. Okay, so again, this recipe will be linked below, and thanks to Lil Luna, her variation is delicious. So most of the day has passed now, so we're getting ready for dinner. And after dinner, we're actually going to be surprising Amber with our little goodies and having a family parade. I told you we had something planned, so we're just making some posters right now. Listed the boys to help, and we'll have this on the outside of the car, and we'll honk, and we'll give her our treats. Do you think she will love the cookies, Ezzy?
Yeah.
Those are good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. All right, I got Amber's cookies ready, and the Fram's going to be meeting at my house very soon so we can head over to Amber's. So we're doing a birthday parade, guys. Right. So another thing, you guys, is whenever I have a birthday from any friends or neighbors or family members, I get to use these cards that I inherited from when my mother passed away 5 years ago. I have like hundreds of cards, all kinds of occasions. And so it's almost like my friends and family get a special part of my mom too, because I know she loved these cards. All right, so we're headed over to my friend's house right now, and we're going to surprise her. This is so exciting.
Happy birthday to you. You guys are the best. Thank you. You guys are the best.